Hey everyone, it's Bernie. Welcome back to part 2 of what I'm calling the husband hoodie. Well, you could call it the boyfriend hoodie if you wanted. Honestly, it's a unisex hoodie. Who cares? This is where I left you in part 1. We are now going to split for the front section and the back section, although right now we'll be heading straight into work on the back section only. So this is what your top should look like at this stage. You wouldn't have the top section yet. Can you see that? Yeah. So if you are working on 3 colors like I am, 10, 10 and 10, that would be the inches that I split the work into. This would be 10, this would be 10, and this in its totality would also be 10 inches, although we now have to split that into a few sections. I worked exactly 2 inches into my hoodie's arm section. I have a tape measure somewhere. Exactly 2 inches I worked, and then I stopped working there. So then I split into the 2 half sections. I left my front section and I came back to it, so I'm not going to go into the front section right now, but we do want to then head straight over to the back, and let me explain. So from my 10 inches I already took away 2, so I'm left with 8. But for this shoulder section, you'll see my neck opening leaves 2 shoulder parts that runs over the shoulder, where you'll join the front and the back later with a small seam. That section is also 2 inches. So from my now 8 inches, subtract another 2, and I'm left to work this back section until I reach this neck opening for 6 inches in total. So, well, not 6 in total, 8 in total, counting my 2 inches I did here. I'll work another 6 until I reach this neck opening, and then I've got to work 2 inches over the shoulder on either side, so that I have 2, 6 plus 2, total of 10 inches for my last panel of gray. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know in the comments and I will try and explain better. But yeah, that's the easiest math that I can give you. If your panel, of course, was smaller than my 10 inches, say for instance your panel length for, if you chose to do 3 colors, was 8 inches, and you went up until your arm for 2 inches, your shoulder needs to be 2 inches, then the difference in between would be 4 inches. So 2, 2 and 4 would give you your 8. That is as simple as I can make the math. But again, if you're stuck, let me know. I will try and help. So basically, this is what I did to split the 2 panels. Remember, my original hoodie started with a chain of 164. That was my stitch count throughout the project, and now I've got to split that into a front panel of 82 and a back panel of 82. So whatever your initial chain length was, easy math, because it should have been an even number. Just split the 2 and you'll have the stitch count you need for your front and back panel. So it is confusing because I'm working on a sample, but my sample was 60 stitches, so I simply split my front into 30 and my back into 30. So I hope that makes sense. So we're going to not bother with the neck opening for now. We're simply going to work. You are going to work on however many inches you need before we start with our neck opening. So if that's 6 inches or 4 inches, carry on with your work until you reach that measurement. I'm only going to be doing 2 rows just to show you what the rows look like now. So this is our front panel, and when I finished my last stitch, I'm not joining to that chain in the beginning. We're simply going to turn the work and work on our back. So turning the work, I'm heading into that first stitch for a single crochet. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm looking now at what appears to be a front post double crochet. So as we know, the pattern dictates that every front post must become a back post, and every back post must become a front post. And that's all we're going to do. Simply insert your hook from the back and turn that front post into a back post double crochet, and continue with your stitch pattern. So I'm going to do this till the end of the row, and I will meet you there. I've reached the end of my row, and this is stitch number 30 for my front panel. I have one stitch left. I'm not going to be doing a back post double crochet around that post. I'm going to simply, in the top of the stitch, place a half double crochet to end this row. I'm going to turn the work and immediately work one single crochet for my first stitch, and then I'm looking at what appears to be a back post single crochet, which I will now turn into a front post. That is all that you'll be doing. Keep alternating, work as many rows as you need to get to your measurement for how high or how long you need this panel to be. And then I'm going to meet up with you at the end of this row. I'll be ending once again by placing a half double crochet in my last stitch, and my last stitch for this round was the first single crochet we made in the previous row. I've reached the end of my row. I've got one more post stitch to do, which is a back post double crochet in this case, and then I'm placing a half double crochet into that single crochet at the beginning of the previous row. Okay, turning my work, and now we're going to pretend that I have worked however many inches I need to finish my panel. And now we're going to measure for our neck opening. Now in my husband's hoodie's case, his neck opening was 10 inches. Grab that so that you can maybe gauge better what I mean. And it's a little bit stretched out because Mr. Big Head had to wear it yesterday before I could start filming. I'm going to do the best to squish it in. Oh, too high. No, too low. Okay, button. This is the neck. I don't know that it will all come in on the camera. Let's zoom out. We'll look at all of my paper mess. Right, so that was the, yeah, he stretched it out to 11, but I promise it was 10 inches when I did my measurements. So I did that, and I placed a marker just on either side of that 10 inches, and then I counted the stitches on either side for the shoulders, and as long as I came up with the same amount on either side of the neck opening, that was what I went with. So I believe what I did, and I did write it down somewhere, ask me where, I have no idea. Okay, we'll just do this once again. I believe I had 30 stitches. Excuse me. Let's see if I can count them in the back very quickly. Can you see that? Okay. It's so hard. This is where we went over the shoulder. I think this is where we started. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30 exactly. Yay! I didn't forget anything. I may not have written anything down, but I didn't forget. So because my back panel is 82, I simply deducted the 30 for my neck opening and came up with whatever was left, which was 52, and 52 divided in 2 is, come on guys, help me out, I have no idea, 26. Yes, so then that left me with an over the shoulder count of 26 stitches. So that is what you need to do. You need to split your total for your back panel. You need to split that now. You need to measure out how wide your back panel is. You need to have the measurement for your neck opening, and then you need to measure for that. So say I've got only 30 stitches to work with on the sample piece, but I will try my very best. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna work on, my piece is about 8 inches. I'm gonna work on 2 inches for each shoulder, so roughly 2, and that's roughly 2, and that leaves me with about 3 inches in the middle. It should leave me with 3, 2, 8, 2 and 2. Can I not count? 4 inches in the middle. So let's make that 3 in the middle and come in with a few more stitches so that we have 2.5 on either side. Yeah, that sounds better. So let's just see what the count is now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches, and then that's a stitch, that's that half double. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches. 10 stitches is over here, and then that should leave me with 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. 10 for the neck opening. So there we go. Your count of course won't be 10 stitches, but you'll have to measure in inches. So measure for your neck opening excuse me, and then see how many stitches you have left on either side to go over the shoulder. Make sure that they both have the exact amount of stitches on either side of the neck opening. So as long as your neck opening is as wide as you measured in the beginning, say for instance 8 inches, 6 inches, 10 inches like my hoodie was, then just do the subtraction on either side to get the stitch count you need, because they have to be the exact, and then remember that stitch count for the front later. So I've got to remember for William's hoodie that my front section needed 26 inches for the shoulder as well. And remember, no, I'm not going to talk about the front, but do remember to keep that stitch count for your shoulder section. Make a note of it, because you'll need that later when we come to the front panel. So either way, we are now going to work 2 inches for this shoulder. So I'm going to do 2 rows with you. Then we're going to cut off our yarn, because that part will be done. We're going to join the yarn on the other side and then work up 2 inches again. So remember to take note on which side you're starting. Since I'm starting over here with this shoulder, I want to join my yarn later over here and work the same, so that the stitches look the same. So if you're working on the right side of the work, be in mind your yarn might be over here and you'll be working this shoulder until it reaches 2 inches. So you'll want to join on the right side of the work as well to do the other shoulder. So because mine is a sample piece, everything is upside down and backwards, and I hope I'm not confusing the hell out of everyone. You can let me know if I am. There's nothing I can do about it now. We will start as we've been starting, with a single crochet, and simply continue with our stitch pattern, turning every back post into a front post and every front post into a back post. The stitch pattern does not change, just the first stitch and the last stitch. The first stitch is a single crochet, and the last stitch you place is a half double crochet. So I'm almost at the end, And this is my last stitch that I marked, and I'm placing a half double crochet. I'm going to turn the work and start immediately with a single crochet and then continue with my stitch pattern. So this is my 2 rows. I'll show you what this looks like in just a second when I snip off the yarn and then reattach on the other side to do the exact same thing. And then only we will head to the front to either do a closed up section or split it like I did. And if you're going to split your work, you're going to need a few buttons, maybe 2 or 3. So I'm just trying to find the single crochet. There we go. And half double. So that's the end of this section for me. I'm going to reattach my yarn, and I'm going to reattach on the sort of inside of my work because that's where I started that one. I'm going to join in that stitch that I marked immediately with a single crochet, and then I'm going to head over and do the stitch pattern as per usual, working only 2 rows. Gosh guys, it's been raining non-stop. It's lovely, the weather's lovely. I do quite enjoy the chill in the air, but it's so loud. We don't have any thunder as yet, which I'm grateful for because I don't like thunder and lightning. Neither does the puppy, and he's so good. As long as he can hear Mom, he's quietly laying by my feet, just sleeping the day away. Okay, so that is what our work should look like. You should have a neck opening of your desired width. You should have 2 shoulder sections after 2 inches of work. That looks something like this, the same amount of stitches on either side, and that would be your back section complete. Okay guys, back for our front section. Now if you're not going to split the work like I did and add buttons before you attach your hoodie, then you will be doing your front panel in the exact same manner as you did your back panel. So easy peasy, simple as that, you're done. Right? You'll simply then go on to the next step and then seam up the 2 shoulder sections, and that'll be a vest sweater at that stage. Then you'll just go on to add your sleeves and your hoodie, and you'll be done. If you want to do the split section that I did, you're going to need to do the following. You're going to now half again this front panel, which for my big hoodie was 82. You're going to half that and come up with 41. Now we don't want to work with uneven numbers, so my 41 turned into 40, and I left the 2 odd stitches open in the center, which you do need to leave that section open because we're still going to add ribbing to the hoodie's front and to that section, because that's where you attach your buttons. So that's really good. So I'm working on my sample, so I've got 30 stitches. I'm going to show you the split because I don't have to show you how to do the front. You've just done the same thing for the back. You're simply going to do the same thing for your front section. I'm going to count 15 stitches, well 14 really, but I'll do the 15. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 15, counting from the other side, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4 and 15. Again, we don't want an uneven number, so I'm simply moving one marker back to 14 and this marker back to 14, leaving 2 stitches open. That's exactly what we want. We are not working in those 2 stitches. Now remember, we've worked 2 inches until here. We will be working only on this half panel now until we reach the height of the neck opening in the back, because then we're going to split once again. And remember that stitch count I gave you earlier, the 26 I did for my big hoodie. We're going to have to, when we reach, and I'm just going to need to do 2 rows to reach this back opening, and then I'm going to split for the shoulder. So you need to then work the amount of inches between your shoulder. And just get our original sketch looks horrible. The amount of inches between your shoulder and this 2 inches, it was 2, 2, and then we were left with 6 inches. So you'll work 6 inches on this one panel only, and then you'll split for that shoulder into the stitch count that you had for your back shoulder. Okay, if you don't understand anything, once again, please let me know. I will be happy to explain better if I can. But that's why I do a show and tell. I'd rather show you than explain to you, because it is very confusing. And this is why I do not write patterns, because I don't know how to get my thoughts across onto paper. Slip stitch on my hook. I'm going to be joining my yarn into my front panel. And I'll be joining with a single crochet, and immediately we'll start by turning whichever post stitch you see, whether it be front or back. You'll simply change that into the opposite post stitch. So I'll be doing these, and I will end this part on a half double, same as we did for the back section. You start with a single and you end with a half double. I know I only need to do 2 rows because that's all I did for the sample piece. You need to work however many rows to get to your inch measurement for your panel. So whether that be 10 rows, 12 rows, I don't know. Our tension would be different. This is my last stitch. I'm going to place a half double crochet in there, turn the work, and go right back for a single crochet, and changing my post stitches into the opposite counterparts. And ending with a half double. Okay, so as you can see, I'm at the height of my neck opening, and so I need to now mark. Now for me that was 10 stitches. For you that might be 20 stitches, 24, 26, like it was the case for my husband's hoodie. His shoulder measurement was 26 stitches, so I had to count that. So I'm simply counting my 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And I'll be working my shoulder section. You'll be working yours for 2 inches. Once again, I'll be working mine for only 2 rows, and then I will complete the other side as well. I'm starting with a single crochet, and my last stitch is a half double crochet. That is what our work should look like. I'm going to be joining in here. I'm going to do exactly the same as I did. Okay, so here is where things are going to differ ever so slightly. You can go ahead and snip off your yarn right here and reattach the amount of stitches for your neck opening or for your shoulder section, which in my case is 4 stitches away for this part. But for my bigger part, it was of course a few more. So you can snip off the yarn and then reattach, or you can slip stitch over to that section. Now I know that my shoulder in this case is 10 stitches, so 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. When I get to this marked stitch, I know I need to start with a single crochet. Okay, so if this is what you're going to do, simply slip stitch over till you reach that section, and you don't have to worry about these stitches being visible at all, because we'll be working into them for our hoodie. And then I've reached that marked stitch, and there I will place a single crochet and then continue with the stitch pattern. So if you don't want to cut the yarn and then rejoin the yarn, simply slip stitch over until you reach your marked shoulder section, and then continue as per usual for however many rows you need to finish up your 2 inches. In my case, I'm just doing 2 rows, and then we're going to attach our shoulder seams. So after this section, or after you've completed this shoulder section, don't cut off your yarn. You're simply going to turn your hoodie inside out, and we will seam up the inside with a slip stitch. And my last stitch is a half double. this is what your hoodie should look like at this stage. You will have this opening, 2-stitch opening for that split section where we will add ribbing to later, so don't worry about this. Right, yours will of course be much longer. Mine was 6 inches, so it's quite long. And then we are now going to just flip this inside out. Just grab my yarn, flip the work inside out, and then seam up that shoulder. Attach yarn to the other side and simply do the same, and then that will be your hoodie complete. Just going to go through, grab my yarn, and then simply slip stitch the stitches together. You should have the same number of stitches on either side, of course, so they should match up perfectly. That will be that. Do the same for the other side. You can flip your work back. You're free to weave away your ends as you go along. I'm not going to do any of that for this small piece. But that is what your hoodie should look like at this stage. You basically have a vest, you have armhole section, you have your split front. So in part 3, I hope that'll be the last part. We're going to start our hoodie, and I will attach one sleeve with you, and you'll do the other one on your own because it'll be exactly the same. Let's not go into that now because I don't want to confuse things. So I hope you've enjoyed making your vest up until this point. Next up, we'll turn it into a sleeveless hoodie, and then we'll add our sleeves, and it'll be a complete winter hoodie for whomsoever to wear. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial up till here. I will see you in part 3 very soon. Thanks so much.